So now you see the screen with the windows.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, you have to select with a particular window, like there is one option.
I selected the entire screen, I think.
Yeah,
So let me stop presenting and share again. Huh?
yeah.
So if I select a window,
Then you have to select a particular window,
okay.
like
But
PPT.
but what do you see now?
The PPT only.
Right. But
Yeah.
even then, if I go back
No, that's not visible for us. We are seeing only the PPT.
now,
Only the PPT.
oh great. No, but I need to go out of here to work on the PPT to move the slide.
No problem, ma'am.
That's okay. That's okay. We'll talk about online meeting etiquette also, so we'll touch upon this limitation.
Okay, ma'am. I think now we can start. So, hello guys. Very good evening. This is Rotractor Rishikesh Savan, editor of Rotract Club of Saraswati College. So, welcome to day two of the Litfest. So, this is day two. We have completed our day one yesterday, and now we are proceeding with day two. Today, our topic is workplace etiquette, and our speakers are Dr. Neha Sharma. So, let me introduce her. She has completed her MBA and specialist in HR and IT. Also completed her PhD in IPR, which is interpersonal skills. She also have a certificate in soft skills from IIT Roorkee, along with the 14 years of experience in teaching and training students for interview. She also have a YouTube channel and she's a passionate singer. So over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Rushikesh. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you, Rushikesh, so much, and all the other Rotarians who've been working so hard to make this event a success. I'm actually honored to be here, of course, at the request of Rushikesh, who's been a favorite student. We were deciding on the topic and we were discussing what best we can put forward for the students. So I arrived at this topic called workplace etiquette because most of you, if not working, are looking forward to get employed, and etiquette is nothing but a code of conduct that governs your behavior and personality in the workplace. So it's very important for you to know the do's and don'ts of the workplace etiquette. So I'll just start the presentation. Rushikesh, keep telling me in case the slide doesn't change or I lose connection in between. Just keep me informed, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. So we'll start with what etiquette is before we touch upon what workplace etiquette is. Now, if you have these three circles in place, wherever you go to a party, you go to a formal dinner, you attend a meeting, you are in a professional interview, as long as these three circles you master, you are done with your etiquette thing. So the first is that your intention should be right. You should not go with casualness. You should be prim and proper. Second, your tonality, the way you convey your thoughts is very very important. Sometimes we mean the right things, but the tone in which we talk spoils it all. And the third is the choice of words, which is very very important. So as long as these three circles are in place, you have actually mastered the word called etiquette. Quickly touching on workplace etiquette. Now, what is workplace etiquette? It says it refers to proper behavior in the workplace for making the environment a pleasant place to work in. Now, a place which is full of, say, stress, tension, conflicts, where people use sarcasm, they pass comments, they are there to pull the other person down. Such kind of an environment doesn't let anybody prosper. So, nor does a company prosper, neither does it allow the employees to prosper. So, workplace etiquette will guide us to, lead the journey of our professional careers very smoothly, pleasantly, and nicely. Not that we can avoid conflicts, but we can minimize them and resolve them to the best manner possible. This etiquette may differ from company to company, but in general, there are few guidelines which we will now discuss, which are same across all companies. So broadly, I've tried to, I've curated this content and tried to give to you what would, benefit you the most. So the workplace etiquette would consist of these six major things. The first would be email etiquette. We'll talk about that. The second would be telephone etiquette because we're doing a lot of telephonic conversations these days. We're having interviews telephonically. So we'll discuss about that. Then the third one, which you might not find in any book which talks about etiquette or on the internet, I have, kind of made this term. It is called the escalation etiquette, which is very important these days. We'll talk about that. Then, of course, the dressing etiquette. We keep talking about it on and off, how to dress up professionally. Dining etiquette. We're talking about formal dinners. So it's not about how you dine in the comforts of your home with your family members. You're free to do what you want to. But then we're talking about formal dining etiquette whenever you go out to dine with your boss, with your colleagues, with the management. Also, sometimes meetings happen over meals also. Meetings not, they don't, these days they're not just confined to the office space. So you may go out for dinner with your client for a meeting. So dining etiquette is very important. And then, of course, meetings etiquette, how to attend meetings, how to lead meetings. We'll touch upon that as well. The first thing we touch upon is email etiquette. Whether you're a newly appointed employee or you're a seasoned manager, it's very important for you to master the art of writing emails because these days we are overloaded with emails. On an average, every day, say a general employee would get 50 to 100 emails on a daily basis, and they are all professional emails. So how to, reply to those emails, what should be the tonality, who to send it to, CC, BCC, we'll all study in the further slides. Adhering to the email etiquette helps you establish professionalism and build stronger relationships at the workplace. It will also make your communication more effective. So, there are certain useful tips which I would like to share with you while typing an email. Use a professional email address. So, I have been a part of various colleges wherein I have been a part of the pre placement activities. So, whenever I talk to students and tell them how to write a CV, I tell them your email ID should be very professional. When I say professional, it should not be, for example, Johnny loves Ronnie at gmail.com, or maybe, the name of your favorite celebrity. Do not do that. At most, put your first name and your surname in your username, that is your email address. If the username has been taken, for example, your name has been taken, add any random 2 3 digits. Rushikesh, 123 at the rate gmail.com. But do not use any unprofessional address. That gives a that cuts a very sorry picture of you in the CV. So use a professional ID, even otherwise, even when you start working. Keep your tone professional. When you write an email, do not make your email look like coming from a jumpy person who has no control over the words or the tone he uses. Keep it very to the point, precise, and your tone should be very, very professional. We'll talk about it in detail in the coming slides. Avoid vague subject lines. So your subject line should convey to the recipient what you're actually wanted to say. Do not leave a very vague subject. For example, if it is a follow up to a previous email, please write the reference number of the email, or you may write subject with reference to your sales pitch sent to me on this and this date. Make the subject line very clear because only that will help the recipient to read it. Sometimes, our inboxes are flooded with so many emails, we may tend to miss any important email. So, your subject line will make sure that the recipient at least reads it. And your aim is not only that he reads it, your aim is that he acts upon it. So, make the subject line very crisp and catchy. Practice good grammar, very important. In case you write something else what you don't mean, it has 100% capacity to ruin the message. So please practice good grammar. Incorrect English, it's not about what impression you create. It's about, the meaning will completely be miscomprehended at the end of the receiver. Then, of course, use proper punctuation. Never leave your sentences with dot, dot, dot. Never leave them as a phrase. Make sure they have a period, a full stop, a comma, or a semicolon wherever required so that it conveys the exact meaning to the reader which you intend to convey. Please resist emojis. Although these days few offices have gotten a little liberal and they're okay with smileys and emojis. But when we talk about strict professional emails, please refrain the use of emojis. We have transitioned from, where the internet was introduced in our country, say in 1990s till now. So we have become a little relaxed. But even then, I would suggest refrain emojis, because if you use emojis, the impression that the reader gets in that, you are not serious about what you're trying to say. So refrain. Choose your mail salutation carefully. How you address the reader. The reader may be your prospective client who you want to be your client in future. It may be your boss. It may be a junior. Even in the case of a junior, you cannot let your language loose. So hi, hey does not work. These are informal salutations. You can write very nicely. You can say dear sir, dear ma'am, oblique sir. Um, at the time of sign off, we can do away with yours faithfully, yours sincerely. Gone are the days. You can write a good small regards, best regards, warm regards works as well. But make sure your salutations and sign offs are very respectful. Then the fonts you use in email, because these days your email inboxes they give you a choice of using the font. My favorite, I'm a fan of Times New Roman. Arial comes, I think, the second. Calibri, in which I have prepared this presentation for you, is also good. You can use Courier, you can use Helvetica, but don't try a variety of fonts in your email. Comic Sans is an absolute no-no. It'll make the email look jumpy and make you look jumpy as well. So please restrict to these formal fonts and formatting. Perfect your email signature. These days we have a signature box where you can add your signature, which by default goes to the recipient after you stop typing the email. So it should essentially contain your full name, not your nickname, not what your buddies call you as, your full official name. Then, of course, your designation and the company for which you work. You may or may not put your phone number depending upon who you're sending the email to. So, if you want to be contacted back, make sure you add the phone number. If you think you do not want to share your phone number, then you can omit that. But your name, your designation, and your company should definitely be there in your signature. Very important. Use CC and BCC appropriately. I'm trying to come back to my screen so that I see how many attendees are here. Anybody would like to kind of interact on this CC and BCC? Any thoughts on this? Ever paid attention to what this feature of an email is?
Yes, ma'am. Like
Yes.
we use CC for sending like one email to like 4 to 5 people, और लाइक हम लोग सीसी उसके लिए यूज करते हैं लाइक हमें जैसे पता करना है कि इन लोगों को मैसेज भेजा उन लोगों ने लाइक मेल भेजा एंड
Okay.
बीसीसी इज लाइक टू द ग्रुप ऑफ द मेंबर्स लाइक उनको लगना चाहिए कि लाइक एक ही बंदे ने मैसेज भेजा है और वो बस आपको ही आया है लाइक
Right. So use of CC and BCC, you have to be very careful. CC, we all know, is carbon copy. BCC is blank carbon copy. So when you intend to send the same mail to more than one recipient, you can use CC because you're saving on time. You're not again and again sending the mail to a different address. Now you're sending the same mail to say 10 recipients, but you do not want the first recipient to know that you have sent the same mail to the second recipient also. So then you can use a blank carbon copy, BCC. So if I enter, say, 100 addresses in the BCC and send a mail to you, Rushikesh, you will be only able to see your email address in the recipient section. You will not be able to see the rest 99. So that helps when you want to keep something confidential. For example, you want to fire 3 teams of your department on some misconduct. You want to fire all 3. But it is not advisable that one team should know that the other team has also been fired on the same grounds. So you can use BCC and keep it very, very private, but use both CC and BCC very, very sparingly and carefully. I'll try to come back to my slide. Are you able to see that, Rishikesh?
यस मैम
Okay, I'll just put the slideshow again. The slideshow is not working for me. Can you see it there? Now.
या मैम
Yeah. Respond timely, very, very important. Even if you have a load of, say, 100 emails, do not sit upon those emails to respond because everybody wants a prompt response. If you do not have time to address the issue mentioned in the email, at least write a one-liner, say, I will respond to you in 3 days. Always give a time frame. And then adhere to that time frame. If you say 3 days, get back in 3 days. If you do not have a time frame in mind, please write, thank you for your email. I will get back to you later. But then do not let that later be an infinite period of time. Please respond in a reasonable period of time. Structure the email properly, the sequencing, a short, crisp subject. Jump to the subject in the very first line. Nobody has the time to read long stories. Do not write backgrounds. Do not go round and round. Just come to the subject. Second paragraph may elaborate the subject in detail, and the third paragraph will close the email. It should be short and to the point. Be careful with humor. Jokes keep aside. Do not use sarcasm. Do not crack jokes. Do not use wit in a professional email. It is not welcome anywhere. Plus, in an email, the emotion and the expression is absolutely missing, which the telephonic conversations and face to face interactions have an edge over. So, please be very careful with humor. Jokes, my suggestion, keep out of a professional email. Proofread every email you send at least twice in case you have omitted something, in case it sounds a little rude somewhere, you have time. That is why always type the content of the email first and then enter the recipient address. Do not enter the recipient address first in the two section, in the two block. Why? Because if by mistake you press the send button, after you've just written the mail in half, or you wanted to make some correction which you could not, then the mail will already go to the recipient. These days, Gmail is offering an undo button, which is a very nice button. You can undo the sent mail, but then again, it is always suggested that you proofread the mail and enter or type the mail first and then put the recipient email address. Use reply all sparingly until and unless the information that you're replying to is of importance to everybody who has sent the email or who has been CC'd. So do not use reply all. Use only reply to the person who has sent the email to you. The people who have been CC'd might not, the content that you send across might not be important for them. Think before forwarding. These days, it's a world of forwards. Even on WhatsApp, you get random forwards. You get all sorts of gyan from Sadhguru to, Sri Ravi Shankar. You'll get all on your in your email boxes and your WhatsApp. Do not forward and do not junk. Do not spam. I'm sorry. Do not spam other people's inboxes. As it is, they have thousands of mails to answer every day, which are professional work-related emails. Please do not forward before thinking why you're forwarding it. Only forward if it is very, very important and of relevance to the recipient. Please don't spam people's inboxes. Do not never share controversial topics on the email. Uh, Even after a mail is deleted, even after it is deleted from the trash bin, it is there on the cloud and on the server. The records, this is the biggest disadvantage or the advantage of digital communication. Every record is there for years and forever. So even if it is deleted, it is there. Do not discuss controversies on emails. Do not share confidential or private information. I've seen people sharing their bank passwords with their close ones through email. It's a strict no. Don't do that. Avoid excessive abbreviations because they're not known to all. Avoid jargons, which are technical terms which not all people understand, and avoid slangs in emails. Be mindful with attachments. In case it's a large attachment, make sure you use a Dropbox or a quick share, or you put it on the Gmail drive. But do not send large attachments with emails. Remember always to set out of office replies. So in case you're on a vacation and somebody tries to approach you, your he does not know you're on a vacation, set a default out of office reply. The moment the email reaches your inbox, by default the mail will be sent to him saying, whatever you type, I'm on a vacation from this date to this date, will answer the emails once I'm back, so that he knows that your email has been read and he will come back to it once he's free. Second, and very important, I'm going a little fast because I've been given 1 hour. At the same time, I'll pace it nicely. Now, telephone etiquette. It's important to follow telephone etiquette as our voice plays a very important role in creating an impression of our personality and education. So, always smile when you attend a telephonic call. Why smile? Because they may not be able to see you, but when you smile, it is conveyed in your voice. The telephone etiquette includes the way you represent you and your business, how you greet the receiver, the tone of your voice, I keep telling. The choice of words, again, is very important. That was there in the triangle etiquette, the choice of words. Listening skills. So, more than speaking on the telephone, it's very, very important how much and how carefully you listen and how you close the call. Again, some useful tips. The first thing you do on a telephonic call is introducing yourself. If it's a cold call, especially if you're making marketing cold calls, people don't know who you are. So please introduce yourself briefly. Speak clearly. Do not eat into your words because they're not seeing you face to face. They can't see your lip movements. So all they do is they hear you. So it's very important to speak more clearly in a telephonic conversation. Keep your voice very pleasant, very polite. You shouldn't come across as if, you've had a bad day and you're here to take your frustration out on the receiver. Make it very pleasant, polite. Listen carefully, take notes if required. Give your full attention to the person on the other end of the telephone. Never call anybody at odd hours. It's a strict no no. In a professional workspace, there are working timings. So even if you're working beyond the hours, it is you who is working, not necessarily the other person is also working. He might be at the dinner table. He might be, in his bedroom spending a quality time with family. He might be watching TV. Do not call anybody at odd hours. You know what odd hours are, right? Beyond the official timings. Make sure the content of the call is crisp and relevant. Again, nobody has the time to listen to your story. So come down to business as soon as you call. Put the other person on the speakerphone only when it is necessary and only after telling him. Otherwise, he'll feel like a fool. So only if you're driving or you're doing something very important with your hands, put the other person on speaker and please tell him, be mindful of your volume. On phone, it is only a volume that is being conveyed. Do not shout. At the same time, don't be too slow. Or don't talk in a whispering tone. Never put anybody on long holds. Also, before putting the person on hold, please inform him. Please seek his permission. So you can't be, talking and then suddenly he gets to hear a two, and he's lost. Do not do that. Putting on hold also should be sparingly done only when you're doing something, transferring the call or talking to some other person on a relevant matter. At all times, inform him, seek his permission. Never chew or eat while on phone because it is very, very clearly it is transferred to the other person that what you're doing. He can very easily make out. So don't do that mistake. Do not take very long to pick up calls. Make sure you pick it up in say the first 5 or 10 rings. Dial your numbers carefully. So sometimes you have something to say, you dial a wrong number, the other person, God forbid, on the other end is a very quiet person. He doesn't even correct you. And then you end up telling him the whole story, which is not intended for him, and you make a fool of yourself. So dial the numbers very carefully, twice check before dialing. This is all about professional telephone etiquette. When you call your friends, it's okay however you deal with it. However, even there, practice a little jurisdiction as to how you do it. Ask before transferring a call, very, very important. So, in case you're transferring the call to somebody else, please inform the person or ask his permission. Decrease the volume of TV, fans, children shouting in the background, any kind of construction
अहो
noise.
ते
Try to
रेकॉर्डिंग
decrease
करते ना
that
म्हणून
volume as
झालं.
much as possible while on a telephonic conversation if you can't totally avoid it. Close the call appropriately. Ensure all the requirements and queries of the caller or the person on the other end have been resolved before you close the call. Use a proper sign off. Always you can, end the call with saying thank you so much. It was a pleasure speaking to you. We'll arrange a follow up call on this matter, whatever time frame you give to him. Avoid closing the call on phrases such as hang on, hold on, who's calling, phrases like I can't hear you, speak up, I can't help you have to speak to someone else. You can put across the same things in a more reasonable, in a more polite fashion, which is, may I put you on hold? May I say who is calling, please? I'm having a little difficulty hearing you. Can you please speak up? I need to transfer your call to a department so that they can answer your question. May I do so? So, at all times, please maintain your politeness throughout the telephonic conversation. Now, useful tips on resolving an escalation. This is the next topic, which is very important. I like to have some kind of interaction before I proceed to this because we all know what is telephone etiquette, we all know what is email etiquette. What is escalation etiquette? Anybody? What is escalating calls? Would anybody want to interact with me on this? Heard of escalation ever?
No, ma'am.
So we have so many people here. Let me just call out names. Nikita, are you there? Shruti, Prachiti, Rotarian Sakshi. Sakshi, would you want to respond? Do we have Vanshika here? Vanshika, what's escalation?
Hello, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
I'm sorry, I haven't heard the concept of escalating calls.
Okay, okay, no, that's fine because when I was preparing this PPT, it was nowhere mentioned, but I thought it'll be important because you'll be working and it's important. Now,
Huh?
what is escalation? Escalation is
It is
when
fine.
you, as an
You
employee,
don't
are
have to
not
always know everything.
able to deal with an issue and you escalate it to a higher end.
Okay.
Okay, you get my point? So once you escalate it, it is very important for you to understand how you go about it. So for example, you are an online customer, you buy something and you have, say, a complaint about that product. So you would want the customer care, the person at the customer care, to resolve it. In case he is not able to resolve it, what do you say? Please escalate it to your senior management in case he has no answers to your queries. So that is what escalation is. I'll just come back to my slide quickly. uh, Here it is, just give me a moment. Somebody is leaning on my doorbell, not understanding why I'm not opening it. Anyways, yeah, I'm alone at home. Yes. So escalation is when you want to take the matter to the senior management because you are not able to solve it as an employee. As a customer, you would want that particular person to take it to the higher management so that he gets a redressal to his complaint. Now, when you resolve an escalation, for example, you are at the other end, there's a customer, he has had, major problems with your product. He has a list of complaints and he's not happy with the product you have delivered. So you are at the other end. Now you have to take care of how to resolve this issue. He has already escalated the matter. He has written emails to your, he has used the Facebook page of your company. He has complained there. He has complained to your superiors. He has complained everywhere on every social media platform. And now it is your job to resolve that escalation. Number one, keep in mind, customer is always right. So you have to clarify where you have been wrong, you have to explain, but please do not contradict him because he will feel offended. He has already paid a huge amount of money to buy your product. He feels it is his right to complain if the right product is not delivered. He will go to any extent to defame the company. So the first important rule is the customer is always right. Keep your calm at all times. Do not lose it. Even if the customer is shouting at you, you need to maintain your calm. Do not be defensive. नेवर बी डिफेंसिव. वो ऐसे हो गया होगा सर, आई एम सॉरी, हम तो ऐसे करते हैं, आज से पहले ऐसे कभी नहीं हुआ. दिस इज जस्ट a web of words you will get involved in. Do not do that. Clarify, as I told you earlier. Do not contradict the customer. Never get into an argument. Never. Please listen to him. Let him take out all the frustration he has in his head out on you. You just listen to him calmly. Be prepared and keep all the details handy also for a follow up later. Please be prepared with facts so that you can tell him, even if he's wrong somewhere, you have to do it very, very diplomatically and not make him feel offended about it. Buy time. If you do not have the, say, a resolution to whatever complaint he has ready, buy time, but show sincerity in resolving the issue. Communicate frequently to him as to what you're doing in that direction. So it'll take 3 more days, 4 more days. We are working on our end. We are trying our best to redress the issue. You have to do that so that your customer is your customer forever. Or these days, they may switch companies like at the drop of a hat. Keep your seniors informed how you're taking care of the escalation. The customer is right, but so is your management. You are answerable to your management also because you are the employee. So they're paying you for this job. So you need to keep them informed and in good mood also on how to escalate. Now, in case you are the one who has to escalate it, you've already done all what you could do to redress the complaint. Now you cannot do anything in it. You have given up. Now you will have to escalate it to your seniors. That's how this was the issue. I tried my best. मैं उसको redress नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ. Now I will have to escalate it. So now when you are escalating it, what you have to remember: never get rude. Do not cry. Do not whine. मुझे इसने help नहीं किया, मुझे उसने help नहीं किया, मेरी team ने मुझे help नहीं किया, मैं क्या करता? Keep this aside. This is not your job. You are escalating it. Be mature. Stick to facts. Tell your senior management you could not do it. Do not start crying. Do not get emotional about it. It is just a part of your job. Do not exaggerate on facts to make a strong case. Do not do that. Do not make stories to make your case stronger. कि आपके साथ कितना बुरा हुआ और आप क्यों redress नहीं कर पाए, किसी ने आपकी help नहीं की. Do not get into that. When escalating to your management or to a higher chain of command, please make sure and remember your management is always right. You have to put your matter forward very objectively. Keep your emotions aside. Do not take it as an opportunity to complain and whine. Whine is when you keep crying again and again. He didn't do this. I didn't get this. We were limited on resources. I didn't get time. he didn't help me, this didn't happen. Don't do that. Act like an adult. So whenever you come across an escalation, be very, very mature to handle it. Now, of course, the dressing etiquette, which is another very important part of any professional who goes to the office daily. What should he wear? What he shouldn't wear? There has been a lot of debate on this. I'm starting by quoting, a man is known by his dress and address. So, dressing in proper business attire is very important for every business professional because it presents a visual image and sends a message that the employees are professional. What are the useful tips? We all know what to wear, what not to wear, so I will not present pictures of those coat and suits and what should females wear and males wear, but a general guideline of how you should dress up professionally. Never wear loud colors to work. Keep your neons, your fluorescent greens, and your fluorescent pinks. Keep them in your wardrobe. Do not wear them to any official occasion, be it your daily work, be it an interview, be it a meeting, be it, a day of your presentation. Do not wear loud colors to work. Why? Because then all the attention that you get is for your clothes and not on what you speak. So do not distract the audience. Keep pastel, subtle colors in your wardrobe, official wardrobe. Do not wear gaudy accessories to work. A bandana, a loud earring, a loud watch, which just attracts all the attention. A belt with
आदित्य
too
ready
large
आदित्य
buckles, cufflinks which are too gaudy. Do not wear gaudy accessories to work, they're not welcome. Make sure again your clothes are clean and ironed properly. Nobody likes to see a crumpled shirt. Be careful about the fit of your dress. Too loose, too tight will make you feel uncomfortable. Understand what is acceptable for the industry. So these days, I see these coders and programmers in software firms, they go in a pair of jeans and t-shirt because that is acceptable for their industry. So that is why I'm not presenting you with those suits and ties because industry to industry, the dressing sense may differ. So if I'm a professor in a college, I would, and they are conservative in their approach, I would rather not wear a shirt and trousers to work. I would wear a formal salwar suit, I would wear a sari because dressing code would differ from industry to industry. Avoid strong fragrances. Avoid loud perfumes, which are not welcome. At the same time, bad odor is also not welcome. So use a mild perfume or a mild deodorant so that you smell well around your colleagues. Wear neat, polished footwear, both for males and females. Do not, wear old, say, damaged, which looks too used a footwear. Make it neat and clean. Sport a good haircut, both girls and boys. So, keep your hair well trimmed. Secondly, keep your facial hair groomed for boys. So if clean shave is out of fashion and you like to sport a stubble, at least keep it trimmed. Look like a good, look like a human being in the first place. Forget about good or bad. Don't keep the beard untrimmed and those side locks which are going everywhere. Do not wear designer shirts to work. No, not allowed. Wear a good professional pastel colored shirt, a white, a cream, an off white will do as well. A light blue. Shirts should be properly tucked to the trouser. They shouldn't be hanging loose. Do not wear ties if you're not comfortable with a necktie. Please do not wear it. Britishers gave us that tie thing, which we are still following for some reason. But I'm not a very big fan of ties, so you can keep the ties away. Only wear if it is very necessary and if it looks good on you. Otherwise, a formal shirt and trousers does the work well. The same thing I've already said. Sport a good haircut. Male employees, a few things for male employees especially. I already told you, do not wear belts with flashy and broad buckles. Socks must be well coordinated with the outfit, very important. Do not wear red socks with black trousers and black shoes because they show. Shoes must not make noise while walking. Don't drag your feet. Don't walk
अरे तो
pussyfooting,
सेशन
Walk
चालू आहे काय
smartly,
तुम्ही
wear good
रेकॉर्डिंग मागा
shoes. They
पहिल्यांदा
should not make, girls do not wear those loud heels, which, so that your entry is announced before you
वर्कप्लेस
you enter the
एटिकेट्स
workplace with that tuck tuck happening. Again, use a mild deodorant or perfume for boys. Bad body odor is not welcome. Female employees, do not wear revealing clothes to work. Wear clothes with prudence. Don't wear heavy jewelry, those heavy jhumkas. Avoid loud makeup. You can wear a subtle nude makeup to work, which looks very well. It goes very well with your professional attire. Don't wear sharp pointed heels. Do not wear stilettos to work. You can wear block heels, they look as well. You can wear pump heels, they look as well. Do not go to workplace with excessive piercings, that's for males as well, on the nose, ears, everywhere. Not recommended for a professional workplace, otherwise it's okay. Now, dining etiquette. As I told you earlier, not every meeting happens in the office cubicle or in the boardroom. Sometimes meetings happen over meals as well. So, having business over a meal or just dining with a client or a co-worker or with your boss can be very stressful if you're unfamiliar with proper dining etiquette. Useful tips for formal dinners and official dinners. A, this rule is applicable to even meetings and otherwise. Arrive on time, arrive before time if possible. Be seated properly. Engage in pre-meal conversation, because by the time the food comes, if you have a client with you, if you have your team members with you, if you have an absolutely alien team with you whom you have never met before, so they can't just be staring at you and you can't be staring at each other's faces. So engage yourself in short light conversations, about politics, about sports, about say films, general chit chat, so that works as an icebreaker. So thoda sa you'll get comfortable with the rest of the team. Know your eating utensils well. You should know where to place. Use the BMW rule. So you place your bread on the left. Bread is, your roti or any other bread that you're eating. Your main meal should be in the center. So B, M, bread, meal, and W, your water should always be to your right. That is how you place your utensils, which will already be placed by the steward or the attendant or the waiter in the hotel. But make sure you keep the order. Start to eat only when everyone else gets their meat on the table. So you can't rush into, even if you're very hungry, don't start eating before everybody else at the desk starts to eat or they have been served their meal. Because meals come in different time frames. You might get your meal first, it might take another 10 minutes for theirs to come. So don't just start eating your meal before the others start. Practice table manners. What are the table manners now? Follow your host's leads. So do not order anything on the table outside what your host has ordered for. He will be paying the bill, so be very respectful of that. So you don't have to, splurge on his. Since he's paying, so let me have a dessert also and let me have some alcohol also because he's paying. Don't do that. Respect his money, his finances. So stick to the menu, what your host has offered you to. In case he insists and asks you to, order anything else, still restrict your choices. Very strict to, very very minimal choices of food. Don't just go out as if you're, to binge in a party. Forget gendered customs. Britishers left our country like, n number of years back. So there is absolute no requirement of pulling the chair for the female, opening the door for her, closing the door for her. These gendered customs now are out of fashion. So one who enters the restaurant first, he opens the door for the rest of the people who are entering. If he's hosting, he'll do that as a host, not because he's a male and he's doing it for a female. You don't have to pull chairs for anybody. Everybody pulls their chairs themselves and sit down. So these gendered customs are now old fashioned. Be mindful of what you order. I've already told you. Follow the host's leads. Silence your phone. It is not advisable that your phone keeps on ringing throughout the dinner. So please keep it on silent, on vibration mode, and keep it face down if possible. Don't keep looking at it and checking the messages and everything. That's a bad habit. Don't do that on a formal dinner. Offer to fill drinks if you're the host. So you can just offer the other person that, I'll fill your drink, be it water, be it a mocktail, or however the dinner proceeds. Use napkins for the intended purpose. What are napkins used for? What do we use napkins for in a dinner? Would somebody like to tell me that?
For cleaning your hands.
Yeah. So yes, that is the basic say purpose of a napkin. So do not use napkin to say so to wipe your face or to dig your teeth, especially on the dinner table. Don't do that. It looks like really weird. Make sure you use your napkin for the intended purpose. If there's a folded napkin on the table, the moment you start to eat, you can just unfold it, place it on your lap very nicely, wipe your hands, and then you keep it on the table only if you're done with the meal so that the waiter gets a signal in clean your plates. In case you're taking a break, you want to go to the washroom, or you're taking a break between meals, you can keep, or you're going somewhere, keep the napkin on the chair. That's a signal to the waiter that you will come back and finish your meal so that he will not clean your plates. So these are a few things that you need to know about dining etiquette. I'm not going into detail because we have
Yeah.
two more topics. Then chew with your mouth closed, very important. Nobody is really interested to see what's in your mouth. It looks very ugly. Do not talk while chewing the food. Only talk when you're done with the chewing and you've swallowed the food items. Take very small bites. So even if you're very hungry, don't take a very big bite, and then the food is all over your place, all over the place on your mouth, and then you cut a very sorry picture. Don't do that. Do not pick your teeth. In case you want to pick your teeth, please go to the washroom. In case something is stuck to your tooth, some kind of anything, any food particle, please go to the washroom, excuse yourself and do it. Don't do it at the dining table. Ask others to pass items. You just can't leap over the table and go for the salt and pepper like this. Don't do that. You can ask the other person to pass it to you. Keep pace with your guest. So if he's eating slowly, you please slow down. If he's eating too fast, you please keep pace with him. You can't gobble up all your dinner before he has done it, and you can't keep him waiting if you're too slow. So adjust with the pace, at the pace with which your guest is eating. Know the rest and finish positions. So there is a way of putting the knife and fork on your plate so that the waiter knows that you're done or not done. So when you're in the resting position, the knife should be on the top of the plate, the fork should be in the middle of the plate, which means you're resting and you will have more after a break. If you're finished, you just cross the knife and fork and keep it in the center of the table, so the waiter knows that you're done, and he'll clean the plates without you having to call him for that. Do not push away or stack your dishes after you have eaten your food. Let them be, the waiter will do his job. Don't just push them aside ki bhai mera to ho gaya. Don't do that. It looks very weird. Be polite to the waiters. So they might be waiting on you on the table, but they are human beings as well. So do not, even when you call them very respectfully. You can say excuse me, you can wave at them. No, or no, any other form of what I call similar to body language. Don't use any forms, because para language does not look formal at a special formal setting. Don't do that. Then never talk, I told you, with the mouth or with the food in mouth. No grooming, applying makeup, putting eye drops at the dining table. Please excuse yourself, go to the washroom and do that. Girls, please do not, patch up your makeup, your lipstick. Do not correct your eyeliner at the dining table. Do not put your purse or wallet or bag on the table. Keep it down. Uh, that's it in dining etiquette. It is a very very huge topic, so in case I get another session someday, we'll take it up on dining etiquette. It's very interesting to know how to the do's and don'ts. But as of now, it's already 6:50. I'll skip to meeting etiquette, which is now the last portion of the entire presentation. Meeting efficiency has a direct effect on the productivity and success of a company. So if you meet, you give a time to somebody, you have called, you've seeked their time, you've told them to come, say at 6 p.m. sharp, and you are not prepared, you don't have your documents in place, you're wasting his time, your time, and your meetings as a host will never be taken seriously in future. So whenever you call for a meeting, make sure you are prepared. Every document is in place. The agenda of the meeting has already been circulated to all the attendees. They also know that they have to come prepared because they know this is the topic of the meeting. The time of the meeting should already be notified. If it is 6 to 7, you have to stick to 6 to 7. You have to arrive early. You have to make sure that all the topics and the matter that the attendees have to bring have been told them beforehand. If you have to break in between, those breaks are to be communicated. Everything in a meeting has to be done very formally. So one of the primary factors driving meeting efficiency is the meeting etiquette that is displayed not only by the host but also by the people who attend the meeting. Meeting etiquette includes behavior like being on time, listening without interrupting, and being prepared. So what we are having right now is an online meeting. So if I have been told to reach at 6, I have to be there at 6. Why? Because I have, say, an odd 20, 30 students waiting for me. I cannot eat up on that time. I also have to be very mindful of finishing the meeting on time, because there are other things that the employees have to do. They're not just sitting idle for your meeting to go on and forever. So it includes the behavior like being on time, closing on time, listening without interrupting, which is very very important, so that you grasp and absorb everything that has been told to you, and being prepared. Useful tips again: choose the best time for everyone. You can't hold a meeting at your best time. The time has to be favorable to all. So you have to beforehand ask the attendees if they're comfortable for that time duration. Find the right size room, because everybody has to sit. If there are more number of attendees, there should be adequate space. They can't sit next to next and shoulder to shoulder touching. That is not how a meeting is conducted. So the room should be adequately spaced, the room should be adequately lit, there should be proper audio visual aids available in case the presenter is using a PPT or any other thing, he's using a film, a video. So everything should be in place. Show up on time, I told you, for the attendees also, not only the host. Come prepared, the attendees. You should be prepared for the topic because there may be a question answer session, or the presenter may invite you to ask questions. So come prepared with questions. Assign the roles. The host has to assign roles. For example, here is Rushikesh, who is taking care of the he's the moderator, he's moderating the meeting, that is his role. Then there'll be some other person who will be recording the meeting. There'll be this other person who will take care of the question answer session, right? So assign roles to every attendee in the meeting beforehand so that he knows how he has to act in the meeting. Dress professionally everywhere. So even in a meeting, you have to dress professionally. You can't just go out, in beachwear in a professional meeting. We've already talked about dressing etiquette. Speak loud enough so that everybody can hear you. At the same time, do not shout. Take care of the acoustics of the room. Some rooms have an innate echo to them. So make sure you adjust your volume and your pitch according to the acoustics of the room. Actively listen. For the attendees, the one who's speaking is speaking, but the rest of the people are supposed to listen actively and participate. The way I'm trying to do here, invite interaction, invite questions, invite suggestions, invite feedback. So that'll make the interaction, more lively. Take turns while speaking. So in case one person is speaking, just don't kind of gate crash into his speech. Let him finish, and then you can take turns while speaking. Follow the agenda, very important. Don't go off the track. Stick to the agenda, stick to the topic. Ask questions at the appropriate time, only once the speaker has finished speaking. In case he invites questions in the middle of the presentation, it's okay. But in case he has not done that and he's speaking, let him finish. Keep your questions for the end of the session. Be very attentive to your non-verbal cues. What are non-verbal cues? Anybody except Rushikesh would want to answer me. What are non-verbal cues? While attending a meeting, why should you be careful about your body language?
Can I answer this question?
Yeah, please go ahead.
I think your body language really radiates the kind of energy you're giving out in a given certain setting or a situation. So that is why your body language is very important. Like even if you're setting the correct point, if it's not in the right tone, if you're not in the right posture, then obviously the conveyed point will hold no value.
Exactly, Vanshika. Thank you so much. So posture is one thing. So if you sit straight, the way I'm sitting right now, it means I'm interested in the meeting. Now, what if I slouch and sit like this? I'm looking at my watch again and again. I'm looking at the roof. I'm playing with my earrings. I'm playing with my chain. I'm shuffling with the buttons. These are all the non-verbal cues that you might not intend to give, but since you're not conscious, you're giving it to the host. So be very mindful. That is what my slide said. Be very mindful of your non-verbal cues. Sorry, I was here. Can you see the slide, Rushikesh?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So the last point is be very attentive to your non-verbal cues. Make eye contact. Don't look here and there. Otherwise, it shows your disinterest in the meeting. Be not only actively listen, also convey it through your body language that you're interested in what the host is speaking about. Otherwise, it conveys that you are absolutely disinterested. Put away your phones that I told you already. Put it face down, silent on vibration. Dining etiquette may be वही है, meeting etiquette may be वही है. Give others the opportunity to speak. Don't just kind of make it a one-man show. Ask clarifying questions. Very, very important. In case you do not understand a point, let the person finish. What is the best time to ask questions? When he's done on a topic and he's about to start another topic, you can just intervene, raise your hand, and ask your question. Ask clarifying questions, not questions which are irrelevant, because that might disturb the decorum of the complete meeting. Be respectful and kind, both while asking questions and answering the questions. You have to be very respectful. There could be an occasion that the audience is asking you a very silly question. One member from the audience gets up, he thinks it's a very intelligent question, but to you, as the presenter of the topic, since you have absolute command on the topic, you find it very silly. Even if you are finding it silly, be respectful for the person who's asking the question. Thank him. Thank you for your question. And then go about explaining it. Also, do not over explain. If the person is argumentative in nature, he will keep asking you again and again. Then you may, again, very politely, do not lose your calm. Very politely say, I think I've answered the question. However, for further clarification, we may talk after the meeting is over. Do not waste the time of the rest of the attendees with an over talkative or over argumentative participant. At the same time, how you do it, it should be done with extreme kindness and politeness so that he doesn't get offended. Even if he's out there to offend you, You have to remain very calm. You don't have to make him successful in his purpose of offending you. You have to keep your calm, answer him politely, briefly, and move on to the next topic. Attack the problem, not the speaker. Now this is for the attendees. So in case you feel that he's not addressing the problem, he's not coming to the issue, your tone should reflect that your problem is with the issue in hand, not with the speaker. Do not get personal with the speaker. You did not do it. I asked you to do it. You did not come back to me. You did not keep the time limit. You did not meet the deadline. Now, this kind of tonality should not be used anywhere in professional workspace, because this is the blaming tone. Do not use that. Your problem is, please remember and remind yourself, your problem is with the work not done, not with the person at hand. So even if the person has not done it, focus on the work and not on the speaker. So these things come with practice. These things come with the more number of hours you spend attending a meeting, asking questions. So by and by you learn it, but be very conscious of this element, that you do not your tone should not be blaming. It should not be offending. Eat and drink appropriately. So even if you're given snacks in the middle of the meeting, make sure those snacks are eatable. Usually in meeting you're given those small snacks, those bites that you can take, small biscuits, and you can just sip a cup of not a cup, you can just take a sip of tea or coffee. Take it very very lightly, because you don't want to appear like eating and chewing too loudly or making noise while chewing. So eat and drink very appropriately during a meeting. Stay on the topic. Try and stick to the schedule. So if the meeting is 6 to 7, make sure you close it on 7 at 7. Do not kind of delay it just because you have too much to talk about. You cannot eat into other people's time. Speak confidently, at the same time be concise. Don't bore the attendees with over details. Nobody will pay attention. Schedule time for breaks. If it is a long meeting, say it extends to 2 to 3 hours, then please schedule time for a tea break, for people to go to the restroom and relax a bit and come back. Save time for chit chat and questions, very important. Every meeting just cannot end abruptly. So there has to be a feedback session. You can just have an informal chit chat after you're done with the formal meeting. And please make sure you follow up on what's next. This is the last thing. I think I am adhering to time. Yes, it's 7. Online meeting etiquette, very important, क्योंकि आजकल online meetings बहुत हो रही हैं. We are here sitting, in an online meeting. So an online meeting is not very different from a real meeting. If you treat it differently, you will forget the do's and don'ts of a general meeting. An online meeting is as good as an in-person face-to-face meeting. The same rules apply to an online meeting also. So if you're dressing up professionally for an in-person meeting, you have to dress up professionally for an online meeting also. So do not make the mistake of dressing up, only for the upper portion of your body, thinking that, the camera is not focused on the lower portion. Don't make that mistake, because sometimes in the flow, you might just get up to switch off the fan without putting off the video. You might just go to some other room to fetch, say, a cup of coffee or a glass of milk, not not keeping in mind that you were not dressed up properly as far as the lower portion of your body was concerned. Don't make that mistake. Dress up as well for the online meeting as well as you would have dressed up for a face to face meeting. Do not make this mistake. People do it. I remember there was this video that became viral. I don't know if you people have seen it. I'll share it with Rushikesh
Yes,
if he can
ma'am.
share it with you. So this person, the meeting got over. This was somewhere in the US, and he was just in his boxers, and he was wearing his shirt and tie, prim and proper, but he was not wearing trousers. So the meeting got over. He forgot to switch off the video, and he got up. And he got up and he was, roaming all around the room in those boxers and the shirt and the tie. And everybody was laughing. They were trying to call him to switch off the video, but he was following the meeting etiquette as told by Neha ma'am. So he had kept the phone on silent. He couldn't even take phone calls. So he was roaming all around the room in boxers and shirt. This happens because he didn't realize the video was on. And sometimes even if you put the video off, कई बार ये technical error भी होता है. कई बार आपको लगता है video off हो गया लेकिन वो नहीं होता है. People are still able to see you. So dress up as good as you would dress up for an in-face meeting, an in-person meeting. Some believe that an online or virtual meeting is not the same as an actual meeting, so it's okay to forego any meeting etiquette that applies in real life. This is a very misguided assumption. So, as I told you, I'm sorry, wear a professional attire as in a real meeting. Arrive early. Why? because here you have to test your connection, you have to test your screen, you have to test your equipment. आपकी आवाज उधर जा रही है कि नहीं
तुला
जा रही है, आपका
रंगा नहीं
माइक्रोफोन ठीक है
खानदेस
कि नहीं है, कनेक्शन इंटरनेट का
तुला
स्टेबल है
पिंक
कि नहीं है. Like I was doing it with
पिंक नाही
Rushikesh, you know. I
हाँ
arrived, you know, 2 minutes early because I was trying to test if my screen sharing is proper or not. So arrive early. We're talking about online meeting, very important. Take note of your surroundings, minimize distractions, keep your background clean and professional. See, I've chosen a very good background of my hall, which has two bookshelves there. So, you know, it looks good. Rather than कि वहाँ पर कपड़े फैले हुए हों या फिर you know clothes line पर कपड़े टंगे हुए हों या any other clutter in the background. एक कॉर्नर तो आप साफ रख सकते हो ना अपने रूम का if you're attending an online meeting. Keep that corner for yourself. Keep it beautifully decorated. You can keep flowers. There can be a clock. There can be a bookshelf. Keep it very nice so that it is pleasing to the eyes of the people who are looking at you. Take note of your surroundings. As I told you, minimize distractions. I tried my best, but somebody was leaning on my doorbell today. Frustrated, he must have left now. But take care that there are minimum disturbances. Things that are not within your control, everybody understands. But if you choose to sit in a noisy area with fans on, with you know children playing in the park, which is just next to your window, don't use such a room then. So make sure the surroundings are as peaceful as possible. I've already told you, yes, choose the right application. So if a Zoom meeting goes off in 40 minutes, do not choose Zoom, choose Google Meet instead. Choose your application very wisely जिस पर आप मीटिंग करने वाले हैं ऑनलाइन. Learn the software controls. आपको पता होना चाहिए कहाँ से म्यूट होता है, कहाँ से स्क्रीन शेयर होता है, कहाँ से you can raise your hand, कहाँ से you can type a comment. You should know all the controls of the application that you're using for the online meeting. Mute yourself in a meeting unless and until you're talking, because you know there is echo, there is background noise. So keep yourself on mute, let the person talk. Only unmute yourself when you have to ask a question or you're asked to answer. Keep your hands off the keyboard. You can't just be playing with the keyboard throughout when you're talking. Don't do that. Look at the camera and speak clearly, very important, because you know in an online meeting eye contact gets difficult. You're not sitting face to face with the people. So once you face the camera, your eye contact is with the camera, and that is what the people are, that is how the people are seeing you. So keep your eyes on the camera, speak very clearly, very important. Give your full attention as an attendee. Set goals and agendas as in a normal meeting. Introduce each member of the team as in a normal meeting. Assign a role for everyone. Do not interrupt when the speaker is talking. This is all as it happens in a real meeting. The same is applicable to online meeting as well. Yes. Turn your video off if you need to get up. If you at all need to get up, please turn your video off. Nobody would want to see you, you know, dangling in front of the camera. Sometimes your cloth the camera would capture your clothes. It would capture, you know, a not very decent angle. So please switch off your video whenever you intend to get up. Allow people to leave early. Very important. They may have other tasks. So once their role in the meeting is done, you may allow them to leave. It's not necessary that they should be there for an hour. Summarize the meeting, very important. Jojo points way. Keep track of time. I hope I'm doing it. What time is it, Rushikesh?
7-6.
Right. So I started at 6:05, if I'm not wrong, or 6:10. So keep track of time. Very, very important. Don't waste people's time. Don't waste your time either, because you have other priorities at your job as well. Behave as you would behave in person. Always, I'm just trying to go back to you. You can still see my slide.
No, ma'am.
You can?
No.
Shall I go there? Okay, I'll just be
Yeah.
there for a moment because I want everybody to note down my email ID. In case there anything you want to ask me regarding this topic, regarding anything else in the ocean of soft skills, you can get back to me on my email ID. Please don't spam it and please follow the email etiquette taught to you. That's
And we
very
have a
important.
request for the PPTs.
You can get it anytime. I'll forward it to you, Rishikesh.
Yeah, ma'am.
Since it is, we have 3-4 minutes. Can I open the forum for questions? If
Yes.
anybody wants to, Rishikesh, you can be the moderator and pass on the questions to me, or they may ask directly, as and how you feel comfortable.
Yes, ma'am. You can ask directly also, or otherwise you can pass me also.
So
No
if
problem.
somebody wants to, yeah, if somebody wants to put up any questions regarding, you know, related to today's topic, I could not go, you know, very much in detail because I had 1 hour in hand. But anything related to this, if you want to, I'll also pass on my email ID. I think Rushikesh already has it. I'll again put it in the chat window also. So now I'll come back to the screen for a little interaction. Um, I'm opening the forum for questions. If at all there are any questions related to whatever I have spoken today on workplace etiquette, email etiquette, telephone etiquette, we covered dining etiquette, dressing etiquette, escalation etiquette, which was very important.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Pranali. Pranali says, well explained all things, ma'am.
Yes,
Pranali,
ma'am.
you have a question? Thank you, Dr. Sanjay Goyal, for joining. Pleasure to have you here.
That was such an informative session, ma'am. We
I,
will use these
I,
tips in
Rishikesh,
our
thank you
future
so,
sessions.
Rishikesh, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to, because these things are very close to my heart, and I see a lot of good students who are very bright. They sometimes, fumble and they err when it comes to, say, writing emails, and they're very bright. But these tips and tricks will help you go a long way in, carving an image for yourself in the organization. Very important.
Yes, ma'am.
So, any questions?
Let's just turn on the camera for the
Vanshika, you can
validation.
ask face to face. Though I did read your question,
I can actually, there is noise behind me. That is the very reason I did not.
and ma'am has already spoken a lot about background noise. Yeah. So Vanshika asks me, how can one handle disagreements in a workplace environment? This is such a lovely question, Vanshika. Vanshika is actually talking about organizational conflicts. And whenever I take lectures on organizational behavior or organizational conflicts, I keep telling people you cannot avoid conflicts, Vanshika. You cannot do away with conflicts, because when you work in a team, you work with different mindsets, different opinions, people from different backgrounds, both religious and political and cultural. They have their own opinions, they have their own personalities, perceptions, mindsets. So when you deal with such a diverse team, how do you expect conflicts to not happen? So conflicts would happen, you have to accept that. You cannot avoid conflicts. What you can do is you can try to minimize conflicts or try to resolve them, to the best extent possible. So now, what are the tips and tricks? Expect less of the other party to adjust, and you exhibit that attitude more. So take it as your responsibility. I'm not saying that you come in a win-lose situation on a negotiation table wherein he takes the cake and you lose. But when you sit at a negotiation table to address a conflict or to resolve an issue, see, there are two kinds of negotiation techniques, right? One is integrative and one is distributive. Integrative is a win-win situation wherein both parties go home happily, that both of them, could, one party got half the cake, the other party got the rest. The other is distributive bargaining or distributive negotiation, wherein it's a win-lose situation. Now, this depends entirely upon the bargaining power of the negotiator sitting on the table to resolve a particular conflict. In case you are a strong negotiator, you have, say, a hang of facts, you know things, you have
This
been
is
dealing
much
with
better.
conflicts, you will be able to come in a win lose situation. However, it is not suggested, because once you arrive at a win lose situation, you win and the other party completely loses. They will lose faith in you as a negotiator and they might not approach you to resolve conflicts again. So, as a negotiator, as a person who's trying to minimize or resolve a conflict, always keep your approach as a win win situation wherein you get something and the other party also receives something in return. How to go about it? Again, there are a lot of things. Organization conflicts is again a deep, a subject. I can take a 1 hour session on that. But to give you a few tips and tricks, keep your emotions in control on the negotiation table. Do not lose out. Keep your language very professional. Give a patient and a listening ear to the person who's at the other end, who might be having a lot of complaints. Make sure you give him a genuine hearing. Make sure he feels that you have heard him. Try to resolve his conflict not just by lip service or saying that you will do it. Make sure he sees the efforts that you're trying to work out the conflict between you and him. Or maybe you're the representative from the management and he could be a representative, say, from the union, the labor union. He could be a union labor leader. I'm just giving an example. So make sure, yeah, make sure that you keep your body language very positive. Make sure you listen to his complaints very, very genuinely. Make sure you give him the comfort that yes, you're trying to arrive at a resolution which is acceptable to both. Never wear your emotions or your heart on your sleeves in an organizational setting. You might be feeling like crying inside, you might be feeling like shouting at him, He might be misbehaving with you. You have to be curt, you have to cut him short. At the same time, you do not have to behave in the same manner as he is working. Treat the whole situation very calmly. Even then, if the conflict is far from resolution, that one meeting is not sufficient. You may keep meeting again and again and again. You may keep discussing on that topic again and again. Take it, as I told you about escalation. Take it, escalate it to your senior management if it is out of your hands. But give your 100% so that the other person doesn't feel that you are not into it. Your heart is not into it. Rest, Vanchika will have a 1 hour session on conflicts, so I'll be able to explain more clearly. But thank you for the question. It was a very well placed question. Anybody else? Thank you, Vanshika. Anybody else?
So, ma'am, let's take a picture first, then we can continue with the session.
But how do you
Everyone,
take a
please
picture with
turn
these?
on the
With these?
camera.
How do you take these pictures with their cameras off?
They will come for the picture only.
Oh, are you dressed up properly, all of you? I've just I've just spoken about dressing etiquette, so make sure you're not in your lounge suits. Wear night
Guys,
suits. Hey Adil, how are you?
Just fine, fine, ma'am. How are you, ma'am?
I'm fine. Were you there throughout my presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you sure? Can I put questions?
Not 100%, ma'am.
Ah, see? Okay, no, no, I'm just kidding. We are running out of time. We can just have a group picture. Um,
yeah,
I can just see a few faces. Rushikesh, make sure when you take a picture,
yes, ma'am.
the cameras are on,
ओके मुझे लगता है मैम इतने ही है लाइक बाकी प्रॉक्सी
which is
वैसे
fine.
वैसे और कुछ
Fine.
पिजन बाहर है
So let me know. Three, two, one, and I'll.
ओके मैम जस्ट 3 2 1
Is it fine? One more?
लेट्स टेक वन मोर या
Hmm.
3 2 1
Done?
यस मैम
Was it an okay picture? You want me to give another?
या मैम ओके फाइन
Okay. Thank you so much, Rushikesh. Thank you, Vanshika. You're doing a very good job. And keep inviting me over for such sessions. I have
यस
my
मैम
heart into these topics. It was wonderful interacting with you. Thank you.
यस मैम थैंक यू मैम
Thank you so much.
नेक्स्ट टाइम मैम ऑफलाइन करेंगे
We'll have an offline meeting because I need to see you people, right?
यस
So I need to see if Adil was sleeping or really attending my presentation. Thank you so much. Thank you.
थैंक यू मैम थैंक यू सो मच
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you, ma'am.
Thank you. Most welcome.